Who is here that was here on the last class? Is there anybody that was here last session that's here today? Just so I can kind of get an idea, so I can gauge that. Okay, so I'm going to go over a little recap in case you weren't here. So last week, or last time that we met, we talked about our why first. The first week we talked about fear. The next week, and the takeaway that I had for you guys as far as fear was concerned was really just looking at the things that are, the things that you're afraid of, and not only looking at them, but understanding that those were the very things that were keeping you from having that actual breakthrough. Actually, I see Junior's hand up. Go ahead, Junior, unmute yourself.
No, I was just saying that I was here the last time.
Okay, cool. So I want to use you as an example, if you don't mind. So like I said before, the takeaway was this: it was to write down the fears that you have, however many it was that came to mind, and also looking at specifically on how those particular fears kept you from going through that breakthrough. So was there anything that kind of stood out for you, Junior, when you did that exercise, when you thought about that?
I would say being vulnerable, I guess.
Being vulnerable, yeah. And in a good way or a negative? You're saying that's a positive thing or a negative thing?
No, I was saying that was like a fear of mine.
Oh, got you. Being vulnerable. Okay. Yeah. And sometimes, like, that's a perfect example, by the way. And that's something that I think a lot of us can kind of relate to in real estate, is because we're in a business, right? We do business in real estate, but we're in a completely personal business, meaning that not only are we dealing with people like we do, COVID or not, right? But we're also helping them buy or sell their home, which is one of the most personal things you can do and have is your home. That's the place where you have no holds barred. It's you and it's your family and it's personal. So being a part of that is an honor. And I kind of want to really level the playing field a bit, guys, and understand the fact that we should be grateful and honored that somebody is choosing us to help them in this specific part of their life. And it's a big deal, as we all know. Like when we, all those that are on here right now that have bought or sold a home, it's, even though that we're in the business, it's kind of stressful. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things happening. So with all that being said, how can we ease the tensions in a personal business deal that has so many emotions throughout a transaction? How can we ease the stress? How can we ease the pain? How can we, better serve our clients throughout this process? So with all that being said, I really want to just look at the fact of just the bottom line about rapport building. Like, there's really, in my opinion, no bigger skill that we can learn other than that. Like, I think when you're able to have an equipped, skillful way of getting to know people, putting yourself out there, meeting people, and building, not only doing that, but that's like the first step. But when we're able to develop lasting bonds, things that can go through the ups and downs and so on and so forth, that's what we really want to get to, is the depth. And unfortunately, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, we kind of get caught up in this real estate machine that we are a part of. Like, okay, we got an offer, we write the offer, we go through all the different like steps, right? And we know what to do. When we open up escrow, we do this and we do that. Then the inspection, and then so we know the processes, right? But sometimes we let that consume us. Sometimes those processes keep us from getting personal. And I want to just make sure that we're not doing one or the other, but we're actually kind of using both of these here, because it is super, super crucial when we're actually going out and trying to build rapport with people. And here's the thing: when you're able to do this effectively, I mean, on a repeatable basis, right? When you're able to do this on a repeatable basis effectively, it is the game changer. There is no other game changer, in my opinion, that can give you the type of personal results, personal gratification, fulfillment, but you can also move all those things I just said from the personal side to the business side as well. It is like a dual purpose mission, really, that we need to be on to build these deep relationships with our clients. So here's the thing. I want you guys to just think about it, because we all, COVID or not, right, we're meeting people all the time. Our new going outside has kind of turned into social media, right? So we do a lot of that on social media as opposed to going out and do it right now, based on the circumstances with the pandemic and all that. But like, our job is to meet people. Like, that's, Yeah, that we're people that are meant and paid to meet people, and we happen to sell houses. I want you to kind of think of it that way. That's like the side accessory. It is not the entree, it is the appetizer, right? It's a part of it, but not all of it. So understanding that, and I want to kind of just like all the other trainings that we did in this series, I want to really kind of throw it out to you guys too, and have this be an interactive thing. So please don't be shy. If you have a question, raise your hand. If you want to contribute, please do. Just unmute yourself, chime in, please, please, please. So with all that being said, I want you guys to think about the last time or the time that pops in your mind most recently when you really had to like work on building that relationship or rapport with somebody. I just want to hear somebody's example of it. It could be just going to get coffee and meeting somebody at Starbucks. Whatever it is, I want you to just like whatever that memorable moment is that came up with you trying to build rapport with somebody. I just want you to kind of share that and that experience that happened and what you gained from that, if anybody has any examples. And then we're going to call on people if we don't get any participation, y'all. That's how we're going to do it. So don't be shy. Share a story recently when you've met somebody or started to build rapport with somebody, and kind of just let me know what you got from it or what you feel like you could have done better the next time. I just want to kind of open that dialogue up, and then we're going to get into some nitty gritty as far as some tips on how to really do it. Like I said, not only consistently, but effectively. So who's got something? Come on, guys. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys a little bit more time. I will give one. Izzy, are you chiming in? I see you. Were you about to say something, Iz? No, okay. So, all right, so guys, here's the thing. So just now, like right before our meeting, I decided, you know what? I want to get some coffee or some Starbucks because I need some energy. And let's see who needs some coffee. So I just went around the office and just was like, all right, who needs some coffee? And like, it was something that like, I just thought about, it went hand in hand with what I was already doing. And it was a nice gesture to build relationships with these amazing people in our office. So like, that was like a twofer. I got my caffeine and I was able to do a good deed and really build my relationship deeper with the people that I'm able to work with every day. So like, that is something that I did today. And that's something that really, it was an unexpected gift. And I think like a lot of times what happens is we don't realize that when we build relationships, it could be an unexpected gift for somebody, that relationship or just that relationship. And then I'll add coffee to it. It's even better, right? So that's something that I did recently. And I'm always thinking about how can I get to know more people? And especially with COVID, I'm like that on, another level now because like I've been on lockdown, just like a lot of us have. So really get out there, be yourself, and meet people. That's what our job is to do. And here's what I really want to have everybody really understand here. We all know like the importance of building rapport. We all know why it's like impactful for a business, right? Let me kind of go over some of the things that like building rapport does that not is always like associated with it up front. Okay, so here's the thing. When we are able to deepen our relationship, for example, we'll just use a client in this example. When we're able to deepen our relationship with a client, it immediately reduces stress. It gives them clarity. They gain clarity from it. They gain trust. You're able to deliver the desired outcome to them, whatever that may be. And as we need to do in certain cases, like we talked about just now earlier, as far as like wearing different hats as a real estate agent, we can be that person that's like a best friend to them and kick them in the rear end and call them out on their BS when they're BSing us. That's a right you have to earn, by the way. You don't just go to some random person and be like, hey, man, you got to get your act together. That's not going to go well. But if you build a rapport and they know you're coming from a good place and you want to better them, whole other situation. So understand that when you're building this relationship, it is such a multifaceted gift all the way around because, like I said, you're building the relationship, but you're also building reducing stress. Clarity is added, gained, trust is added. So you're getting all these amazing things under one roof, basically, of rapport building. So just know and understand that this is all interconnected, guys. And I think, if you guys were here on the first one that I did of the series, we talked about whys and our whys when it comes to our goals. Like, why are we going to do what we're going to do? What's going to get us out of the bed in the morning to go and start picking up the phone and cold calling or whatever? Like we not only just need to have like one why, we need to have a bevy of whys, a ton of them, right? Like so we can, because once we use one, we got to like toss it and move on to the next. They're like disposable. So we need to keep replenishing that well, guys. So just understand, even if you're solid on what you know what you want to do and you're clear, you need to have like the gas in the gas tank. That's kind of what the leverage is. So if we know that works for us, right, of us being more effectively on track to hit the goals that we're going to hit, why wouldn't that be the same for our clients? Okay, so I'm going to repeat that. Why wouldn't it be the same for our clients to understand their whys if that's the way that we go about it? The process is the same. So here's what I'm saying. Get to know your clients, build a relationship, build the rapport, find out what's important to them. And it's not about, let me clarify, not important in a home, important to them, the person, okay? Not the client, the person. What's important to the person? Also, why is it important? Why is it important to them? So building that trust, establishing the foundation of the relationship with that, the introduction and building rapport. Then once you've kind of gotten through that and gained and built some trust, asking them what is important to them, getting a detailed response from them, not just like, oh, I want to live in Chula Vista. I want to make sure that I have a kitchen island. Like that's all nice and cool. And I would like those things too. But like really what's important to them. And then why? Why? Because I ask you this because we know with clients, we've all had the wishy-washy clients that kind of blow in the wind one way or the other. And this is like a good gut check of where people are at. It's able to, because here's the thing, when they have a deep understanding and their level of like why they're doing something is not on the surface and they're able to dig deep and we're able to understand them on that deep level, we're going to be able to wear that hat or other hats, like we said earlier, to be able to help them make the best informed, right decision based on the relationship we've built with them, based on the trust that we built with them, based on the whys that they themselves, out of their own mouth, told us that they want and need and why they need it. So sometimes we're just like an echoing board where somebody says something to us and we just got to remember and repeat it back to them when the time is right to save them. I mean, there's been so many times in my life, both in real estate and in coaching, where this has happened, where I was able to catch something or someone before it got too far out of hand or went down the rabbit hole, or however you want to say it. Like it's super, super important to help walk our clients off the quote unquote ledge when they're stressed out in a transaction. If we have the ability to build a relationship and have that relationship solid already, it makes it that much easier to have those difficult conversations. Okay. It takes the sting or the bite out of having those difficult conversations when we're able to build that relationship with them. And then when you couple it with understanding their own leverage and their own whys of why they have to do it, it's really just you're looking out for their best interest. It takes the word fiduciary, which we all should be being for our clients. We should all be our clients' fiduciaries, but taking that and really putting it into play and making that true. Like really believing and knowing and wearing that fiduciary obligation that we have as a badge of honor. Because I'll tell you right now, like, as we said earlier, it sounds familiar, like that this is the same way that we are able to accomplish our own goals and dreams. And it's also the same way we can help our clients do that. So just understanding, a lot of times in real estate, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but I tend to turn things or think that things are rocket science when they are. Okay, this isn't. And like, this is a great example. The formula is like across the board. The same thing that we need to do is the same thing that our clients need as well. So just remembering that, understanding that, and really just seeing that we are no different than the people that we work with. It's another one of those things. And that's, again, when we can like level with somebody, what a better place or setting to build rapport. That's one of the things we look for when we're building rapport, are common threads, common themes, something that we have in common. Because what in building rapport, it's usually, like I said, having people that have commonalities with you or people you admire or would like to be like. You'll build rapport easy with those types of people. So just know that these two things kind of work together. But really, like I said, we're all the same. We all are able to do this together. We all should be doing this together. And like I said, we need to be that voice of reason, that strong voice to trust in during some of these people's most stressful and amazing times at the same time. buying your first home is stressful, as we know. It's also amazing. So not just go one to or the other, like polar opposites, but understanding that you can marry the two, understanding that they're both present. And really, if we know our people's whys of why they're doing what they're doing, why our sellers need to sell, why our buyers need to buy, and these are so much more important nowadays, guys, because of the state of our market. We need to know these things. The more information and intelligence we have on our clients, the better we'll be able to serve them and get them what it is they need. So just understand that and know that moving forward. And like, if we do this, right, and we go that extra mile, we build that deeper relationship, what does that mean, right? What does that mean to you, the real estate agent? And I want to just like open it up real quick. And like, I want to hear if anybody has a story where they like went above and beyond to be able to like take care of their client, and what was what came from that? Like, if you have a story like that, like a good story from a closing you've had, where you just did an amazing job for your client, built the relationship, took care of them, and then what happened next? If you got something like that, I'd love to hear it. If not, I can share one as well. But I just want to hear a story like that if you guys have one. Joe Acosta, Mike Drew, somebody's Rob Paul, somebody's got a story.
I'll jump in there.
There you go, D. Let's go, Mike D.
All right. Because everybody's kind of quiet today.
I know, we're getting shy. I'm talking too much right
now. I've had a couple of instances. I had one in particular where I was just in Costco, just walking around with the wife, and I saw this elderly gentleman. He had a Navy hat on, and I go, "Hey, I was Navy." We just struck up a conversation with him, and and we just started talking. And next thing you know, I found out he was retired Navy. I was retired Navy, so we got that rapport going. And then he said, "Hey, well," the topic of "Hey, you retired? I'm in real estate." Long story short, I ended up giving him my card, and he's like 70. He was like in his 70s. Him and his wife were there, and what happened was he said, "Hey, well, I'm looking at moving. We have a rental place that we're in, and we really want to move because it's just getting crazy there. We just don't want to." So a year later, it was like almost to the date, he goes, when we're ready, we'll call you. A year later, he calls me and he's like, "We're ready to move. We're ready to go." So
love it.
Of course, being older, everything had to be printed out. Everything, I had to sit there and go through I see how it must have felt to be a realtor back in the 90s and in the 80s, when you really had to go and print out everything and go around town to do everything. So set them up with movers, set them up with a good game plan, because they hadn't moved and done things in some years. And I put them on this little program, and was just, hey, just start getting rid of stuff, or start doing little things, just a couple hours a day. I just want you guys to just, you're older. And then, so long story short, we ended up getting them moved, and they love the place. It was a retirement community up in Oceanside. Got them up there. I mean, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of moving parts. I really had to go above and beyond to make this work for them, because they really had no idea. But the rapport that I built, they had a lot of trust. And I always look at it this way. If that was me, pay it forward, because we're going to be there one day, God willing, right? Yep. We'll be that age, and we don't want someone taking advantage of us, or steering us the wrong way, or just in it for the money, you know what I mean? Or treating us bad. So I really take that to heart with them, and I really took that to heart. So what ended up happening, we got them up. They love the place. It ended up a little bit after, and this was last October, a little bit after that, he ended up getting sick and passing away from COVID.
Wow.
And the wife had zero idea of how to deal with any Navy stuff. And I had done casualty assistance officer. So I was a Keiko before, and I actually had to go bury one of my sailors. So I ended up spending extra time going up and helping her get everything, because she was just like, not only was she crushed that he died, he passed away, but she had zero idea of how to get money. You know, what she had to do. She had zero idea, absolutely no idea of how to deal with the military to keep benefits going and being able to pay her mortgage. So I took a lot of time to just go up and sit down with her and go over all the paperwork and help her call around and get everything set up. So
wow. So obviously, everybody, thanks for sharing, Mike. That's an awesome story. And I mean, like,
so out of that deal though, Mike, I did want to say this. Out of that, just from taking care of them and doing everything, her daughter and all her daughters, all her family, I'm the family realtor now. For everyone. Just out of that, they were like, we're not going to use anyone else, Mike. We want you to help us find a house. We want you to help sell the houses, all that. Just from that, just going that extra mile and treating them like you would treat your parents or grandparents or whatever, it really makes a big difference. You know, that rapport and that trust that you have once you build that is, especially with the older community, they take it really to heart. So it really helped me with extra deals too, just from family members.
Absolutely. I mean, it's such, like, you guys see how, like, when Mike explained and told that story, the layers, there's levels to everything he said. Like, he wasn't doing this, guys, like, nothing, and everything that he said, he wasn't doing it for the deals. He was doing it because he wanted to do the right thing and take care of his client that needed help. And that is dealt with so much, you know, like, I couldn't even imagine putting myself in those shoes. And by the way, that's a great way to build rapport, is empathizing, truly empathizing with people. Not being like, oh yeah, I can understand that. I hear that. Oh yeah. No, but really, like, going there and understanding people is so crucial, so important. And especially in a moment of need like that, we all, guys, have the opportunity to do things like what Mike just mentioned. You know what I mean? To go above and beyond, to kind of like say, hey, like, yeah, I'm a real estate agent, right? But I want to do so much more. I want to take care of you because that's just what I do. That's how I roll. You know what I mean? And I think that's great. And I think that's so amazing. And then look at what happens from that. You became their exclusive family realtor. There's no better compliment than that. So guys, like, asking that extra question to yourself of how can I, like, really take care of my people? How can I really go above and beyond for them? And not just like starting that, like, at that point, but you see how everything else that we just talked about and that has led up to this point sets us up for moments like Mike just mentioned. We build the trust, we build the rapport, we take the stress out of the situation, just like Mike did, you know? And that is something that is, honestly, you can't match that. You can't duplicate that. You have to do it. So I urge you guys to really dig deep on this. If there's anything you're going to dig deep on in real estate, this is it. Because I know a lot of us, you know, most of us out there hate picking up this phone and doing the cold calling deal. And I get it. I can empathize. I can empathize with you guys, okay? Because a lot of people don't like that. But here's the thing. Right now, with with COVID and the pandemic and all of us having dealt with lockdowns and so on and so forth, I've said this before, so I know I'm kind of a broken record right now. But that phone call, for example, could be the door opening for something to happen like what Mike just mentioned. Somebody might need your call, whether you feel maybe like it might be bugging somebody by you picking up the phone and calling. That person may need to hear from you. So I offer you that as a possibility. So when you're having the hesitancy to wanting to call, for example, knowing that, you know what, I don't really want to do this right now, but I am going to push through it because I know that if I make this call, it might be the call this person needed to have today. Like, just changing the mindset around it like that can help you do things as far as like cold calling, for example, better. but always looking for what it is that they can do and what you can do, excuse me, for them and what is important to them. So you can put it all together. So you don't have to guess. So you can have the information and know what you're supposed to do with it. So this is so crucial, guys. I just want you to know that we are so much more than people that sell houses. We are so much more than that. Like really, we do a lot. Okay, like we mentioned, we're therapists sometimes, we're legal counsel sometimes, not really quasi-legal, but like we do all these different things in our relationships and our business together with our clients. So I want you to know that doing this not only will make yourself feel better, it's going to help others feel better. Then you're going to feel extra better because, like Mike, you're going to get referrals. That is going to happen. So, especially if you don't like picking up the call, why don't you do what you got to do once you have a client to go the extra mile so they call you? What a concept, So, really, like if cold calling is not your jam, especially that, then you need to show up for your clients at an extremely high level. So they start, being your walking advertisement. Super, super important. So I want to really take this to another level, and then we're gonna kind of close on this theme here. So we talked about building rapport with with our clients, right? We talked about building rapport with our clients and how important that is and what can come from that. I want to kind of bring up also, like, let's take it to the other level of what about building that rapport and those relationships with other realtors, our other colleagues in the business, and especially in a market like one like this that we're in, where competition is nuts, where things are going crazy and happening at a speed it's hard to keep up with. How important is it to have that solid rapport and relationship? And what I mean by that is like the trust, like we broke down, like being able to easily communicate with clarity to the other agent and them knowing you and how you roll and how you do transactions. Like if they know that about you, how much more like the odds are stacked in your favor. It increases it at the very minimum. It increases it, and that helps your client get their offer accepted. You and your efforts of building relationships can absolutely help your clients win right now. And what does that mean? That means that they can pretty much move in right now if they get a house, which I know you all can get them a house, and have equity pretty much by the time escrow closes, guys. That's nuts, but it's out there. So really understanding that like it's not just building relationships with other clients or other people, it's building relationships with other agents. And then let's just go even deeper. Why not, right? Like this is called breakthrough. So we got to get out the shovels and start digging. So what about building that rapport with ourselves? Do you trust yourself? Do you communicate well internally? Do you have a lot of stress? Do you deliver the outcomes that you set out to? Do you call yourself out on the BS? I don't know. You got to ask yourself. Here's the thing. If the answer is yes, which honestly, I'm not going to lie, my answer has been yes for a long time for some of these answers. You got to start building a better relationship with ourselves. And then, and I tell this to every single person that's in this office that I speak to, whether they're new, seasoned, or whatever, and it's cheesy, and I'm going to use a real estate analogy. The foundation is us, okay? Whatever we build on top of that foundation, the foundation has to be strong enough to hold it. And if we're not strong enough to hold it, what happens? It's going to fall down. It's going to collapse. It's not going to be sustainable. So I want you guys to look at rapport building from many different angles today. I want you to look at it from just building rapport with our clients, right? Building rapport with the agents, our colleagues, building rapport with ourselves. And here's the beauty of this tool that is building rapport. It translates into every aspect of our life. You can use it with your spouse, your significant other, improve your relationship. I know it has for me, for sure, because I was not the best communicator always. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. And that's the thing. You just got to keep pushing at it. It's not a snap your finger, one and done, and we're through. This is an ongoing practice that you're going to have to maintain forever. Okay. So just understanding that what we do is so deep. Okay. Who we are in our career and our identity is so deep. If that's the case, why are we sticking on the surface? when all the good stuff is underneath. All the good stuff's underneath. So we just got to get out. Sometimes, you know, you got to go digging, you get dirty, you know, you got to, but you got to do it. It's worth it. I'm telling you right now. I've shared this story, like literally, I beat this story to death that I share all the time. Similar story to what Mike said. I just felt like, you know what, I got to go above and beyond. You know, the story I had the client, I was working with the buyers, and the client, her husband was overseas. I was looking at homes with the wife and with the mother-in-law. Similar market, 20 plus offers to get their offer accepted. I brought the husband from Afghanistan into the house and surprised the wife and the mom. They referred me a ton of business after that. And it wasn't about that. I wanted to make a memory for these people. I wanted to be a part of it, to know that they could trust me and know I care so much that I would do something like that for them. I want you guys to do the same. I want you guys to not only help create memories, but be a part of them. And like, the thing is, we have such an opportunity, guys. We have such an opportunity right now. And I want you guys to be a part of this journey, this mission. I would almost say this is a pilgrimage of sorts of why I'm back in real estate and what I would love to enroll all you in. I'm sure all of you are frustrated or have been frustrated at a time in our business with some of the people in the real estate business that don't necessarily do things the way they should be, above board, illegal, whatever, fill in the expletive or whatever you want to add there. But there's a lot of things that happen sometimes within the industry that make us all look bad. So what I'm trying to do with all of you, and I can't do this alone by any means at all, I want us all to lead by example. I want us to show up at our best so we influence others to do the same. I want to have this industry that we're in be one where we're recognized and given the treatment and recognition of professionals, but we have to earn it. I can't just ask for it. We all have to earn it together. But how much better would it be if people saw us that way? How much better would it be when you're going on a listing appointment, they're not even asking you about commission, that they're raising their hand to do a 7% listing like Mike? How awesome would that be? Where it's not even a thing. People don't go to the brain surgeon that they're getting brain surgery with and saying, hey, knock 20 grand off my surgery, sir. No. So why are they asking us to do this? Because they don't respect or understand what we're doing. So it's our job to earn their respect. It's our job to earn their trust. It's our job to be our best so this spreads like wildfire throughout the industry. We are those people, guys. We are the ones that are leading this charge. And I'm so excited to be alongside all of you in this journey, because it's not going to just help me out or any one of you guys individually. It helps us all out collectively. And like I've said before, guys, life is not meant to be done independently. It's meant to be done interdependently together. So we need to work together. We need to come together. And what better way to do so than building solid, deep, strong relationships with the people that are in our lives? Because I don't see any downfall there. I don't think there's anything you're going to lose from doing that. So you might as well go for it and be all in, because I mean, I can't even tell you what your clients feel when they know that your heart and soul is in it. When they know that your heart and soul is in what you're doing and how you interact with them and how you've treated them throughout a transaction, the way they see you is different. The way, like, the walls come tumbling down. They don't put up their defenses and all this stuff. They feel comfortable and confident in you. So let's all go out and be the best version of what we can do and be the best versions of ourselves, and let that go wild, and let this industry just better itself day after day. That's what I want to see. And you guys are in this with me together. And I'm so excited that we're in this, but it's not going to be easy. There's going to be pushback, but I promise you, it's going to be worth it. It absolutely will be worth it. So here is the takeaway. Okay. Here's the takeaway. Super easy. I want you to be intentional. Okay. I want you to be intentional about your relationships. I want you to dig deeper. I want you to discover, and I want you to understand on a deeper level. Just and a lot of times, like, just even for me right now, first thing that popped in my mind, well, how do I do that? You know, that's kind of our go-to, right? Knee-jerk reaction. Well, how? I just ask you right now to really just look at what you already have in front of you, the people that you do have in your life, the people that do love you, the people that care about you. And I want you to have an intention. And all you have to do is truly just set it. You just have to say to yourself, hey, I'm going to set this intention that with the people I love and that are truly close to me, I'm going to dig deeper. I'm going to really learn more about a relationship. I'm going to discover new ways of how we can deepen that relationship or discover things together, and deeper ways that I can understand this person. And just really think about that, and have that in your mind as a target as you're having these conversations. Because just that alone in this day and age, with things being so quick, as we know, and the market's no exception with homes flying off the market in no time, we live in this microwave world where everything's ready in 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 0 seconds, right? That's the beauty of Google and everything we got going on nowadays. But I'm gonna invite you to step back, to slow down, to gain perspective, and really be intentional with the people you love. And it will go such a long way for the very reason I just said, because we are living in such a fast-paced life. When somebody takes the time to sit down with you, to just devote their attention to you and their focus to you, it gives you that sense of connection and understanding and respect and so many other things. Honestly, we can go on, but that's what I want you guys to start fostering right now, and use this as an example moving forward with your clients, to start implementing these things. That when you have that initial sit down with them or Zoom with them, whatever it is, be intentional of really understanding them. Be intentional of why they're doing what they're doing. Why is it important to them? What is important to them? Like, being intentional of all these things and taking the time not to gloss over it, which is so easy to do. Slow down, gain perspective, and be you. Be your best. That's it. You don't have to be anybody else or perfect. Just be yourself. So that's what I got for you guys today. We're a little bit early as far as closing it out, but if you guys had any questions, or if you had any examples of anything that we talked about today that either like struck a chord, hit home, or gave you some sort of realization, I'd love to hear it. Or like I said, answer any questions that you guys have. So I just want to open the floor up for that right now.
I think that when you talked about asking yourself hard questions and having the hard talk with yourself, I think, at least for me, I think that's the hardest thing, is to face yourself with hard truths. So I think that was really profound for me. And I'll actually ask you if you can like elaborate a little bit more on how to do that, maybe, or like,
Yeah, no, that's I appreciate that, and I'm happy that hit you and it struck a chord, because like, it's a lot easier, like for me at least, like to call other people out, like, hey, you're not doing that, or hey, right, pointing the finger or saying outside of us. It's easy or easier, but when it comes back to us, it's not so easy, like Junior just said. Okay, so we got to remember something, like I try to find these like quick, like little like tips or stuff that can like help trigger something that reminds me to like slow down, or whatever, shortcuts, if you will. So like a shortcut, like in this situation, Junior, is this, where we usually, when we're handling something difficult ourselves and it's about us, we either make it worse than it is or better than it is to make us feel better. So you might ask the question, well, how is making it better or worse going to make me feel better? That's a good question. But when you do that, it lets yourself off the hook. It takes you out of being accountable. When you say, oh, it's so much worse, so that's why it didn't work, and you step back, that becomes the excuse. Okay, so I don't want you to see it better than it is either, where you lose sight of the truth. So there is a truth, and it's usually in the middle. It's usually not a one polar opposite or extreme or the other. It's right here. So like really looking at yourself and being as true and honest as you possibly can be. Because when you're not being honest, you're literally only lying to yourself. And then everybody in your life feels the repercussions of it. So dealing with the pain or fear or whatever it is that you might deal with when that comes up, but knowing and having the understanding while you're navigating the moment that it will pass, it won't be forever, and whatever pain or whatever comes from it is going to be something that's for me and not against me. Understanding that what I take from a failure is a diamond that I get to bring forward. Okay, like understanding that like failing is required and mandatory I wish for more. I know that sounds weird, but I wish that you guys would go out and fail more, because that is the quickest way to learn. That is the quickest way to succeed, is to be able to understand that, hey, I messed up, being as quick as you possibly can be to be aware of that and making an adjustment. When you can do that consistently, the game changes. So I would say, Junior, in this case, it's like the Band-Aid example, right? Like, you're going to take it off slow or rip it off. Like, the rip it off is like just looking at yourself in the mirror and being honest and real and doing what you have to do. Doing the slow thing is what's going to hurt, and that's not dealing with it or going from one extreme to the other. So I hope that made sense or gave you a little bit of clarity on that.
It definitely did. It definitely did. You know, you asked one example before about building rapport, and I actually had a bad example. So yes.
Okay, I'd love to hear it. Let's go.
Yeah, yesterday I reached out to somebody I met, early last year at an open house, and basically in my back of my mind, I kind of assumed it was an easy client, only because when I met the person, I knew they wanted to sell, and I knew that they were waiting for the market to be what it is right now to sell.
Okay.
So I underestimated what it would take to, get that person to want to work with me. Yeah. And when it became like, I felt like it was going the opposite way, I literally felt a sense of failure and a sense of like, man, I really messed that up type of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I didn't even want to really deal with that feeling of that failure. Yeah. And I had to push through it to just allow myself to kind of get from it what exactly you're saying is like, okay, I'm failing forward. Yeah. And I have to be okay with that, Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, sometimes it's apparent or evident that you're failing forward. Sometimes it looks like you've fallen off the planet, and like, it doesn't look like that, but looks, as we all know, are very deceiving. Okay. So like, it may look a certain way, but it might not be that way. We could all have examples of that and understand, like, sometimes we make things so big in our heads of how big or stressful something may be for us, but then we go and do it and it's not a big deal. So like, it's one of those things, and I think, like, in this, you learned a lot. You learned that, hey, it isn't as easy as I assumed. Right. It also means that I need to step up and be understanding that competition is on the selling and buy side, and I got to bring my A game no matter what. So right. Like, it gave you that, which is pivotal, and it's going to hit you deeper because there is pain involved. You remember something like that because that could have been your listing. Right? That could have been a commission check in 30 days from now. And I'm not saying that to make you feel worse, but like, I'm saying that because it's a fact, and use that as motivation. I mean, for me, that was the same thing I used to say to myself, like, man, I left like 100,000 on the table this year because I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing. Like, that kind of stuff, it sucks, but you got to deal with it. You learn, you move on. And no matter how bad it may seem, it's like that, like, little disclaimer that's on the side view mirrors in the car, that the objects that you see appear, they appear like they're closer, but they're not. You know what I mean? So like, that whole thing, like, it makes it look worse than it is. So just understand, do the Band-Aid approach. Like, whatever it is, stop what you're doing, rip it off, deal with the pain or the fear or both, let it sit, and then move forward. Don't dwell, use it, don't lose it, right? And move on. That's right. That's the way to go. And it's a habit, guys. It's just doing this over and over again. It makes it easier the more we do something. We all know this. So yeah, that's what I would say as far as that's concerned. And I appreciate you for being vulnerable and sharing that. Right. And again, being vulnerable, guys, is a lot of times a scary thing, for us. But like I said earlier, and how I started this, training today, is that this is one of the most personal businesses we could be in. So it's going to expect vulnerability out of us. The industry itself kind of demands it, and it's up to us if we're going to give our clients what they need or not. Like, think of it that way. Like, if I'm not being vulnerable, I'm not truly giving my client what they need.
Right.
I'm not being, as their fiduciary, as much of a fiduciary as I could. So I'm going to put that aside. And I'm going to, whatever feelings I may have about what I need to do about being vulnerable, I know that the greater good and me helping the client is bigger than the fear that I have. And being able to have these conversations and the internal dialogue to be able to move through a moment like that. you know? So that's that. Any other question? I see Judy. Go ahead, Judy.
I have a story.
Yeah, go for it.
Just recently, I took a listing of former clients of mine that I've kept in touch with. They were interested in moving into a one-story house. They're kind of getting older, and they have that idea about the one-story thing.
Sure.
And so I talked to them a bit, and we had a meeting. They decided to go forward. They listed the house with me. We had great rapport. You know, they're kind of like off the cuff, very friendly, and I was feeling very comfortable with that. Took the listing, and we decided that, you know, before we put it on the market, you know, of course we were going to take photos and stuff, but we were going to go and look at one-story property. So she picked out one or two. She picked out one, and they didn't want to have any showings anymore, you know. And then there was a couple of other ones, and the only one we could get to see was something that had 15 offers, and it was somebody in our office who let me actually show it. So we went and showed it, and I have to say, it was beautiful. Okay, it was big. Square foot was the same as their house, but it was one story. And I showed them around. They made some comments, talking about what they liked, they didn't like, and then they, I asked them, okay, so if I said this house is not really, you're not really ready to put an offer in, but if you were ready, would you put an offer? Oh, no, we wouldn't put an offer. The yard is much too small, and I don't like it because it doesn't have a big walk-in closet. So I was kind of taken aback, and I do tend to get a little snotty sometimes. I hope I didn't, but I tried to explain to them in a polite way that it's not so easy to get another property, especially when you're really particular about everything that you want. And I tried to say it in a way, because I do care about these people. In the back of my mind, maybe I wasn't, you know, as positive as I could have been. But I like to be, you know, real with people. So anyway, you know, our meeting ended okay. Everything seemed to be all right, except I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach. I went, my God, did I screw up? What did I do? What did I do? And then the next morning she calls and says, you know, we talked it over. You know, my husband doesn't really want to move. I do because of the stair things, but he doesn't really want to move. He's put a lot of effort and time into this property, fixing it up and making it, you know, beautiful. And so we've decided to cancel the listing.
You know, those happen.
Okay, there was one point during the listing where she wanted to wash her hands and she took her gloves off, and then she didn't put them back on again. I guess her hands were still wet, and she started touching everything in the kitchen. I said, well, you know, you can't do that. And she said, what? I'm going, could you please translate for me, husband? You know, she can't be touching everything like that because it's COVID, you know? And I'm going like, what? Maybe it was that, you know, maybe there's something about my attitude that they didn't like. I started playing all these mind games with myself about how it was me who screwed it up. Even though I feel like the rapport was there, but there's a level where I'm going, well, maybe my one level was I'm thinking this is going to be a thankless listing. Because yes, I can sell it in 3 days. Of course I can.
Sure.
But the buying, that, you know, that is not going to be easy with this kind of attitude.
Yep.
So please help me here.
Oh yeah, no. Well, first of all, I feel your pain. I have been in a situation that is eerily similar to that, and it's not fun. You know what I mean? So here, like building rapport, you know, it's not always like the positivity, the rainbows and unicorns and all the roses and all the pretty things. It's not that. I mean, I think that's a misconception that it has to be that. Sometimes like the best rapport building is saying, hey, you guys, what the hell are you doing right now? Because if you miss this opportunity, you're going to be pissed off at yourselves and inadvertently at me. And I don't want that. So let's do the right thing. Sometimes you need to have that hard, tough love convo. And like in your case, like you said, I think it wasn't like, and here, I love your example because it gives insight into what our mind starts to do. Oh, I screwed up. Oh, I messed up. Oh, I'm not good enough. And I'm, oh, blah, blah, right? Like it goes on and on. And like, and the thing is that I'm telling you right now, just from hearing this story for the first time, I doubt that was the case. I don't think it was you at all. I think it was the fact of what you said, being a tough love kind of person in that situation really revealed the truth of their motivation, that they weren't really that motivated anyway. They were kind of like maybe a good, looky-loo, but not really more than that. Like, and that's better for you anyway. At the end of the day, yeah, it was a canceled listing. Yeah, this, yeah, that. But that listing, what if it canceled in 6 months and you were working 6 months on a listing you should have sold in 4 days? And we have all had those too, by the way.
Right. Right.
So like, you did yourself a favor. Okay.
I know that in the long run, I know that, but it's just, it's painful. It's so painful. And then I have another listing. Okay. I've already signed the listing agreement. I've been working with this guy on and off for 6 months, and he signed the agreement, but he's buying up north. And my understanding was I was going to handle the other side of the deal, but he said, no, there's another realtor up there in Temecula, where that is, Temecula. Mm-hmm. And that I kind of promised her that she would take the deal up there, the buy. And I'm going like, oh God, no, I don't really mind it because I don't necessarily want to run up to Temecula all the time. What I am scared to death of is being able to cooperate with this other agent, because I can't sell that house unless he's got another deal to go to. Mm-hmm. So now I was upset. Like, my pride was upset that he didn't want to work with me about it. But ultimately, it's really, I don't really like losing the commission, but it's okay. What I'm scared of is, how am I going to sell that property when I have to worry about somebody else that I don't know what they are. I don't know anything about them, the other agent. So I want to, my basic plan is to try to make friends with her, and so that we can cooperate fully, even though, I'm not involved directly. I am very deeply involved.
Yeah, like, those types of situations too, like, it's important, like, like you said, it didn't go to plan. And that's kind of like the story of the last years of our life, right? Like COVID and all this. Nothing went to plan in 2020 for the most part. So like, our plan's out the window. So I get like the frustration of, hey, it didn't work out as planned. But here's something I'd invite you to look at. And I say this because, I worked on my own for a period of time, and then I built a team. So the context, you'll get it in a sec. So here's the thing. the time, like you said, not only, this is kind of an easy one too, because it's all the way up in Temecula, right? So if this was like in North Park or whatever, different ballgame. But this involves the distance. There's other things involved, whatever. So the thing is that, do you really want that responsibility? Not your quick knee-jerk reaction, but like, step back. Okay. Do I want the responsibility of driving up and down to Temecula, dealing with that, different county, different addendums, different disclosures, whatever, right? All this. Do I want to deal with that? Is it worth it? And like, instead of looking at it from like, you lost something, you gained something, because that's not really what you wanted or your focus is on anyway. It would have been a like 2-for-1 deal, which is great, but like, it now gifts you the opportunity to have more time to focus on what you truly want to focus on. This was like an auxiliary supplemental. Okay, yeah, I could do that. It's great, but that wasn't your main focus. You know what I mean? So
that part's all right, Mike, and I get what you're saying. The thing that is scary for me is that he has to be in escrow with another property before I get paid, and it's out of my control.
Yeah. So all I would do, and I get that, having like another, like the fate of this transaction on another person is difficult to kind of do, right? 100%. So like, I would do this, and this is kind of what I would do in those situations, is like, have the quote unquote, like, come to Jesus talk with them, and like, all right, we're going to sit down and we're going to like lay it out. Like, this is really important. our deals are married here. So I can't do anything until you do. So it is of vast importance that you handle what you got to handle on this side so I can do my job and so we can both do our job and take care of this client. You know, like that's all you can do really is try to set the tone, but you can't dictate if it's going to happen or not, unfortunately.
Right. So I'm going to talk to her once we get a little bit further along here and I actually can put this thing on the market, or, you know, he's cleaning up the house. It's been going on for 6 months, cleaning up the house.
I will be sending prayers your way, good vibes your way, all of it, all the above. I get it, and it's needed. So we're pretty much at time now, guys. So that doesn't mean you can't ask questions still, but for everybody's time's sake, please, like you can either call, text, email me any follow-up stuff to what we talked about. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. I'm grateful to each and every one of you for being here because, like I said, it really like this makes my heart feel good that all of you guys are all on board for just bettering ourselves, like bettering our industry. So ultimately, we can take care of our clients, but then we can ultimately take care of ourselves on a different level too. We'll be compensated the way we should be. Like all of this is intertwined and interconnected to this. So I applaud you. I'm thankful for you guys for doing this for us, for being a part of this mission. So enjoy your day. I will talk to y'all soon. And just be a blessing. Please, just go out and be a blessing today. All right? All right, guys. Take it easy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
You got it.